Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair, and welcome back to...
The Summer of Arnold Schwarzenegger!
Now, whilst the Terminator convinced Hollywood he was an actor who could actually act, he was already in demand before this, due in no small part thanks to the success of Conan the Barbarian. Based more loosely than you might think on the original characters of Robert E. Howard, both Conan the Sumerian and Cole the Conqueror, and the Marvel Comics adaptations of Conan, Conan the Barbarian starred Arnold Schwarzenegger in the title role, having a grand adventure during the low-fantasy Hyborian age. The film almost single-handedly revitalized the fantasy genre in the 80s, giving new life to swords and sorcery. Also, it went through quite a few different versions in pre-production, including one where Conan fights an army of mutants in a post-apocalyptic futuristic setting. So all things considered, they actually stuck closer to the source material than some of them wanted to. Conan the Barbarian still kind of changes some things around, though, in an attempt to make a feature film out of a character best known for short stories and one-off adventures. In Conan the Barbarian, we watch as Conan grows up, learns to fight, and discovers a terrible evil that only he can vanquish. Eventually. He's not exactly the most proactive hero in cinema. So let's take a look at Conan the Barbarian and at least be a little more on the ball when it comes to posting reviews. After a quote from Nietzsche, which annoyed more than a few critics who assumed going in this was going to be tongue-in-cheek dumb fun, we jump right into exposition. Both the narrator going over the basics of who Conan is, and Conan's own father, played by William Smith, explaining to his young son, played by Jorge Sanz, the origin of steel. Seems Crom, the god of the earth, had it stolen away by giants one night. He got pissed off, shook the earth, and the gods of the sky killed the fuck out of the thieves with fire and wind and cast them into the sea.
But in their rage, the gods forgot the secret of steel and left it on the battlefield.
Because this was back when gods weren't perfect, and keeping up with their antics took about as much devotion as understanding the Kamen Rider continuity. Point is, men found it lying there, and finders keepers, they get to keep it. Just pay your respects to Crom once in a while. That's enough exposition for now, though, as we shift over to an unassuming morning in Sumeria. Things seem peaceful enough, but this is the beginning of a movie, so they are attacked. Ruthlessly, the helpless villagers are slaughtered one by one, including Conan's father. Eventually, all that remains is Conan and his mother, played by Nadiuska. The trio of bad guys, led by none other than James Earl Jones, who plays Thulsa Doom, slows things down to let us know this scene is important. Dude, that was my mother! I only had one! After the marauders are done killing the women, pillaging the weapons, burning the men, and raping the huts, the children are rounded up. Not to go with the marauders, they go to the south while Conan and the other tykes head up north.
His was a tale of sorrow.
It's not like kids back then had it easy in general. Conan's there in the line complaining like, man, my family was slaughtered. And the other guys are like, so what, bitch? My family was killed in front of me and eaten. I paid to be a slave. I used to be a fucking chamber pot. Of course, if you want to go by original Conan mythos, he never was a slave. And what exactly is Conan doing in his time as a slave? Pushing a big fucking wheel. This would be the Wheel of Pain. And I'm not sure if it has a purpose beyond causing Conan to morph into Arnold Schwarzenegger, buff and powerful. This is because, evidently, like Cole the Conqueror, instead of Conan the Barbarian, he's going to spend his early years in gladiatorial combat. At the very least, this gives us our first vocalizations from the man. Schwarzenegger used struggle. It's not very effective. Might have helped that they bothered to tell him he was in a fight to the death before starting the match, but Conan quickly figures out that it's in his best interest to kill the ever-loving fuck out of this guy. This, of course, results in his victory and his continued use in gladiatorial combat. As it turns out, killing people is right up his alley, and even as a slave, such victories bring with them many rewards.
He was taken to the east, a great prize, where the war masters would teach him the deepest secrets.
If, at any point, it ever looks like you might be losing, quickly point straight at your foe and declare them a Nazi. They also teach him to read and write, as well as fucking. All things considered, for being a slave, he's got it pretty damn good. Hell, he even gets to sit in on generals' meetings and gets to give his official first lines in response to one of their questions.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
I I like movies. And after so long living the life of a slave in a penthouse suite...
No, you're free!
Someone sets him free. Because otherwise this movie wouldn't be happening. Conan is free, because that's just how his life went at this point. This is a theme that kinda continues throughout the movie. Motivations take a backseat to happenstance. On that note, while running his free ass for life from a pack of dogs, Conan trips across a tomb with a handy-dandy sword in it. A few skinned dogs later, and he happens across a hut where this happens.
There's warmth and fire. Do you not wish to warm yourself by my fire?
Hey, just walking down the street, minding my own business, being offered shelter and sex by a woman that I've never seen before. Just, normal everyday stuff. This mysterious woman, played by Cassandra Gava, seems to have the mistaken idea that Conan is a prophecy-driven character and starts going on about how he was meant to come there and rid the land of the snakes. This jogs Conan's memory about the symbol held by the marauders who killed his family, but she doesn't have all the answers. Yet.
There is a price, barbarian.
Okay? Hot babe needs me to fuck the visions out of her. Where's the downside here? Perhaps after she tells him that he will find what he seeks in Zamora, the dick becomes just too much and she starts going feral on his ass. Oh my, she's a witch! Damn, why did we have to make sweet love down by the fire? My one weakness! With that, the witch is killed. Kinda. She keeps screaming and her flaming spirit ass tears through the hut before flying the fuck out of there. Oh well, no reason to not spend the rest of the night in the hut. Conan needs his beauty sleep after all. However, it seems that all this time there had been a man chained right outside.
I am Subutai, thief and archer.
Also a level 3 tailor. It's not really a focus, I just trimmed a few threads one day and ding! Subutai, played by Jerry Lopez, was locked up here to feed some wolves, so Conan frees him and they band together for adventure. This brings them to Zamora, where they see the sights that civilization has to offer, elephants, and street food of questionable nutritional value. But as they question everyone they meet about the snake symbol Conan is looking for, nobody knows anything, except one lone shopkeeper.
The only snakes I know of are those of Set and those cursed towers. They have spread to every city.
So how long exactly has Conan been walking around asking about snakes while under the shadow of a big fucking tower covered in snakes? Now that they have this amazing lead, oh, fuck it, the night is young, let's get drunk and cause a ruckus.
You too big to be a thief.
It all depends on skill points and perk placement. I wonder if Conan can respec out a camel puncher. Either way, forget about any of the motivations he had before. Subutai mentions that the Serpent Tower allegedly is full of all kinds of money, so breaking in to steal that shit would be quite lucrative. Thus they had that way to do just that, running into a woman along the way, Valeria, played by Sandal Bergman.
The thieves, like yourself, come to climb the tower.
You don't even have a rope.
Everyone knows after you climb a tower, you celebrate with bondage play. On that note, she joins the merry band of larcenists, climbing the snake tower, ready to break in and rob 'em fucking blind.
What on earth could smell so bad?
Do you want to live forever?
Given the option, yes, but even if I say no, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'd like to go sometime in the next 5 minutes. There's two main floors we see on the inside. First, a temple area where one of the marauders from the opening, the Lemmy Killmeister-looking motherfucker Rexor, played by Ben Davidson, is performing a ritual with many ladies. So the lady of the group volunteers to stay here, while Conan and Subutai check below. Below containing amazing jewels and, oh yeah, a giant fucking snake. So while the people upstairs are distracted by boobage, Conan swipes the gems, is reminded of that plot thing he's supposed to be following, and accidentally wakes up the giant snake puppet. No bother, just cut his fucking head off. Unfortunately, that does mean the sacrifice doesn't die and just screams a lot, alerting all around her. Not to worry though, Valeria has been hard at work at the tower's temple. Playing dress-up. At the very least, she stabs the guard and covers her escape very nicely. Thus, Conan forgets all about that snake symbol thing he saw, cause fuck it, I'm rich, bitch! With that, he gives the greatest jewel of all, the Eye of the Serpent, to Valeria, and fucks the shit out of her. This goes on for a while, but the narrator is here to make sure that there's some kind of conflict for Conan to face.
Success can test one's mettle as surely as the strongest adversary.
Now we get to watch as he struggles valiantly against the threat of drowning in a bowl of soup. Or a bunch of big motherfuckers with weapons could round him and his friends up, unceremoniously dragging them before the king, Osric, played by Max von Sydow. Though it's not exactly for the royal ass-reaming you might be expecting. He's happy to find out that there are people who have been able to infiltrate the snake cult and come out alive. He's not the biggest fan of them, you might say, especially considering their members are known for killing their parents, and his daughter just so happened to have joined up recently.
Seeking for the truth of her soul, as if I could not give it to her.
That angry throw really seemed a lot more intimidating in my head. Throwing mountains of gemstones before them, he offers them a quest. Find the temple and steal his daughter back from the clutches of Thulsa Doom. So that's yet another motivation for Conan to get off his ass and avenge his people, but now Valeria figures, screw it, they're rich, they don't need to go off saving people, let's just be happy together. So he says fuck it and leaves before she wakes up. Running into a convenient band of fantasy hippies, he easily gets directions to his destination, and along the way actually runs into the narrator, a wizard played by Mako.
Can you summon demons, wizard?
Yes! I strike at you. I would summon a demon more ferocious than all in hell!
Only thing I can think of for that is my fiance's psycho-ass cat, Dobby. I thought that was more of an inside joke, but okay. Somehow laughing at his threats makes Conan and the wizard fast friends, and the adventurer gets the old man to watch over his horse and sword while he goes off to deal with Thulsa Doom, his way, by wandering into a massive group of snake cult followers.
I'm afraid. Afraid? To bare yourself? Why?
Well, this is a summer special about a hunky guy, and I'm not particularly enthused to get drunk and wake up with a specific creepy guy next to me in bed.
Could we talk over there? Where the others do not see? Why, yes, brother. Of course.
No. Oh, thank fuck, it was just brutal assault. I really need to calm down. Using the priest's robe, Conan easily blends in with the crowd. Except for some reason he's left his Wheel of Pain necklace thing on, which draws questions, but he uses a snake symbol he stole from the tower like a hall pass. Strangely, this actually works for a while. That is, until...
Infidel!
That reminds me, I should probably be a little more careful when I sneak into a church for free booze and crackers. Thus Conan is captured, and has the shit profoundly kicked out of him by Thulsa Doom's two goons, Lemmy Killmeister and the other recognizable marauder from the opening, Thogrim, played by Sven Ole Thorsen. Thulsa Doom goes over how inconsiderate it was of Conan to break into his place, steal his shit, and do something so heinous as to kill a pet! Slight issue with this angle, though.
You killed my mother. You killed my father. You killed my people. You took my father's sword.
It's like every time I try to complain about something, like, oh, I had to stay up all night editing. Without fail, the person I'm talking to hasn't slept in 3 days. Thulsa figures it was back when he was collecting steel weapons, which brings up the riddle of steel.
You know what it is, don't you, boy? Shall I tell you?
Steel will not falter to that which powers the engines of a jet. Or rather, steel is strong, but flesh is stronger, because without the flesh, steel is merely an object. To demonstrate this...
That is strength, boy. That is power.
So, your plan is to wage a war by catapulting women at the enemy? Therefore, Thulsa Doom has more people, so he's stronger. Sorry you wasted your life there, Conan.
Contemplate this on the tree of woe.
Well, this isn't so bad. Whoa! The hell was that? Whoa! 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 Conan's fate is arguably kinder. He's merely crucified. After several days, though, who should come over the horizon but our good friend Subotai? It seems that he and Valeria went off looking for Conan after he disappeared, but there's that slight issue of him being on death's door after that crucifixion. No bother, there's a wizard here, and he can help ward off the spirits who come for Conan.
They'll try to take him, and if they succeed...
If they succeed, you'll follow.
So I guess necromancy's out of the question, then. Not to worry, that night the spirits that come to take Conan away are merely animations, and even Valeria is able to ward them off a bit by thrashing around, and before you know it, Conan's getting better. Now that the whole group is together, it's time to band together as thieves, sneak into the temple, and steal away the king's daughter before anyone knows what's going on. It seems she's not exactly being held in uncomfortable conditions, considering the giant fucking orgy going on, and the green human soup stuff?
So this is paradise.
The fucking or the cannibalism, because these guys aren't joking when they say they eat that booty like groceries. Also, as they sneak closer, Thulsa Doom, transforms into a motherfucking snake. Because he can do that. Though it also seems this stealth mission is less Metal Gear and more Dishonored because they just get about halfway to the princess before saying fuck it and going hack and slash for the rest of the mission. Also, the violence was actually toned down quite a bit in post, which did not make longtime fans of the Conan mythos happy, but on the plus side, it did mean that theaters were actually willing to show the movie. However, by the time they reach the princess, played by Valeria Quennison, Thulsa Doom slithers away. Literally. So they make a hasty retreat. And by hasty, I mean killing as many people as possible along the way. Even when Valeria is left way behind and surrounded on all sides, that's no problem. She just kills the ever-loving fuck out of everyone around her, easily catching up with the main group while the bad guys contemplate what just happened.
They shall all drown in lakes of blood. Now they will know why they are afraid of the dark.
This guy just slaughtered cannibalistic cultists after recovering from demon spirits trying to take his soul away post-crucifixion. You really think that shadows make him jumpy? Thulsa Doom has just the plan to deal with the escaping thieves. Load a snake into his bow? Okay, I've seen some shit in this movie already, but even that did not prepare me for flying death snakes. This kills the shit out of Valeria, meaning that instead of heading straight back to the king with his daughter, they first have to stop by the wizard's place and hold a proper funeral.
Fire won't burn up there. No fire at all.
Well, maybe you should have established that sometime earlier if you actually wanted us to care about it. As it's hardly even shocking when, oh, looky here, the fire burns just as well as if someone had 5 propane tanks in the altar. Of course, this is just another reason for Conan to want Thulsa Doom dead. But how is he ever going to get close to that man again?
He will kill you! He has seen your fires! He will come for me, and when he does, he will kill you!
Ah, it turns out he's been sitting in the location of the climax all along. How convenient! This calls for a montage, as Conan and Subotai revamp the ancient site into a death trap, filled to the brim with pointy sticks. Before the enemies storm the gates, Conan still has a little chance to pray to Crom. Seems he doesn't do this much, which might explain why he's so bad at this, praying to a god of the earth by looking upward, and punctuating his wish for revenge with this.
And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Or maybe he's onto something and we've been doing this wrong the whole time. God, please, smite the asylum, left-handed tattoo artists, and people who claim copyright on public domain works. Or you can suck a bag of dicks!
I love dicks.
Damn it. Thus the final battle is underway. As it's 2 against dozens, naturally the dozens become incredibly stupid and fall for the same ambush 2 or 3 times in a row just to get the body count rolling. Also, as we are nearing the end of the movie, now's the point when even important recurring characters can die. I guess it works that Conan spent all that time as a thief, considering that scream was stolen and used in the Sega Genesis version of Golden Axe. Not the original arcade version of Golden Axe, though. That one stole its screams from First Blood. That's it for Thogrim, but there's still Lemmy Killmeister to worry about, and he's kicking the shit out of Conan. But then...
Do you want to live forever?
Considering your appearance kind of proves that death is just optional, it really doesn't seem as important. This gives Conan the upper hand, beating the fuck out of Lemmy, breaking his sword, and killing him! Of course, it turns out his sword was Conan's father's sword, so it must not have been forged all that well, but the point is he has it. Oh, and Thulsa Doom decides, fuck it, time to cut his losses, flee, and kill the princess while he's at it. As much as I think I'm ready for it, I just can't get over solid snake archery. What the fuck does he do to those things? Shove a Viagra in their mouths? While Thulsa Doom retreats, it's kinda obvious where he's going, so now that the princess is on Conan's side, they team up, so that Conan may sneak up to the temple and right up to Thulsa Doom, where the man has a shocking revelation!
You have come to me, my son. For who now is your father if it is not me?
Damn it, James, you can stop being everyone's father. It's James Earl Jones all the way down.
What will your world be without me?
Well, this was originally supposed to be the start of a 5-part movie series, so there's that. Somehow, Conan isn't swayed by Thulsa Doom's paternal suggestions and cuts the motherfucker's head clean off with what remains of his real father's sword. Thus, happy ending! Thulsa Doom's head rolls downstairs with floppy-ass hair and makes a thud-thud-thud sound. This is enough to get the rest of the snake cult to decide, you know what? Fuck this cult shit. They can keep their free torch. I'm out. And Conan carries the princess away in his arms. Though it's not like they're an item. I guess she's just tired of walking. Not saying that he wouldn't hit that, just... princesses tend to be kind of high maintenance, so... tap it and decap it. Anyway, that was Conan the Barbarian. And it is quite an experience. Aimless at times, but an experience. I do understand that the Conan character was from a series of short stories, and in those, what he did generally was on a whim. He's a barbarian, and he lives his life as such, going wherever the wind takes him, but that did make for some honestly strange moments in the film. Conan's life is set up as your average revenge plot, with his family and hometown being killed before he himself is thrown into slavery, but then he enjoys his slavery because he gets to kill people. But then he's free, and okay, time to run off and do your own thing now. Very hard to discern the motivations of the character when consistency doesn't seem to be that great of a priority to him. The most consistent aspect of Conan in the film is his desire for revenge against the snake cult, but even that takes more than a little coaxing to get him to actually pursue. Sure, his family was killed, and the witch pointed him in the right direction, and the guy pointed out the tower, but fuck it, the tower's got money in it, forget the revenge, just get rich. Oh, wait, the tower has to do with the snake cult. Ah, fuck it, get drunk. Oh, the king summoned you to find his daughter involved in the snake cult, which is evil and indeed are the same people who destroyed your home? Okay, maybe think about it. Maybe. Not only does Conan need a huge reason to pursue this course of action, it seems he needs 5 or 6 to come up before remembering that there is this revenge thing he was supposed to do at some point in his life. That out of the way, though, the movie is very entertaining. The acting, outside of James Earl Jones, isn't fantastic, but it goes with the movie's gritty, dirty feel. You can watch it for the intellectual subtext, or the titties and decapitation, and both satisfy very nicely, allowing Conan the Barbarian to come in at 4 camels getting punched right in the face. Out of 5. While the motivations do become iffy and optional quite often, it's not enough to make the movie itself impossible to follow. Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado, and remember, James Earl Jones must have been doing a lot of fucking.